beyond the truth.
What's up, guys? Brother Sin here. Getting back around to talking to you all. I have been looking forward to this. I apologize for being a little absent lately, but as we discussed before, when I was in so-called packing hell, I have recently been in moving hell. And I'm telling everybody I know, and I'm putting this out to you listeners as well, if I ever bring up the idea of moving again, I want you all to drive here to Canton, Ohio, and punch me square in the face. Because it's a nightmare. It is hell. Especially when you're a cheap bastard like myself. And you don't pay for full moving services. Yes, I have movers load the house onto the semi and move things. But I don't pay to have them pack anything. And the way I do it, I move everything myself down into the garage, directly off the driveway. So all these people have to do is move box from driveway to truck, furniture, driveway to truck. So they're not coming in and out of my house. I had all the furniture taken down, beds taken apart, everything broken down. So I spent a week and a half prior carrying everything down into the garage, just burying myself with boxes just to save time and to save money because they all work by the hour. So it was moving hell, and I'm just now getting to the point where my new garage is clearing out. Finally, after a week, was able to park our cars in the garage last night. It's a huge 3-car garage, and still one of the stalls is still full of all the outdoor and garage stuff. Wheelbarrows, lawnmowers, snow blowers, summer toys, hose box, all that good stuff. It needs organized and moved, but I finally got enough cleared out of the other 2 stalls that we could park our cars in. So when I get up to come to the office at 7 in the morning, I'm not freezing my tuckish off and scraping frosted windows like a savage. So that's what's been going on with me. That's kind of why I've been out of the loop, specifically because I don't have internet yet at my house. So we were supposed to move on a specific day. The sellers of the house misinterpreted the purchase agreement differently than we did. So they took it as 1 day more in the house than we expected. So my internet appointment was scheduled for the day we planned to move in. When I had to call and cancel and reschedule, obviously they had nothing in the foreseeable future. So we had to push it out 16 days. And we don't do cable. We do all streaming media in our house, whether it's Netflix, Hulu, the modified Amazon Firebox. That's our entertainment. So we've got nothing to watch on TV other than now we're checking out DVDs from the library, which isn't so bad. And I went out and bought a $60 antenna from Menards that really doesn't pick up squat. $60 ain't cheap to get maybe 8-9 channels on a good day, 3 of them being QVC and home shopping, 2 of them being religious broadcast, 1 being in Spanish, and the other 2 being regional PBS affiliates. So we haven't had much to watch, which is an okay thing for the kids, actually. But more importantly, I haven't had internet. I've got no Wi-Fi. I certainly can't Skype with Joel. I can't get on and record a podcast because I can't upload it. So it's been like we're out on a desert island. And to make it worse, I've got Sprint, which sucks, especially where I live. Even though it's a classy residential neighborhood, still Sprint service sucks. So I get very poor signal on my cell phone, and with no Wi-Fi, when I work from home and I got to send emails with attachments and so forth, I got to go stand out in the driveway again like a savage just to get the emails to go through. So it's been fun, to say the least. And I've still got 5 more days until they can come do the internet. I've pretty much been calling daily to get an open cancellation slot, and they haven't had any. So that's why I've been a little MIA. Now I'm back in the office a few days a week. Got some time, wanted to sit down and chat with you guys about that. So again, if I ever bring up moving in a future episode, call me out on it. Make sure I realize how ludicrous it is. Because with kids and dogs and furniture and clothes and 37 years worth of living, it's too much. It is far too much to move from house to house to house. My wife and I have been married 7.5 years, and this is now our 7th residence, our 6th major home. It's nuts. We've rented 2 places. We moved out of state, lived in 2 places. Now we've lived in 3 different houses back here in Ohio. So I think we've had our fill of change. We bought the big house in the nicest neighborhood. It's going to be a bugger to pay for anyway, so we are here for good. This is it. This is the Cernier family compound for good. But anyway, we are loving the house. The kids are all loving having their big new separate bedrooms. I'm enjoying seeing them so happy. The little one loves it. We've got a giant island in the kitchen, and he can run circles around the house and through the rooms and up and down the stairs. It's been a blast. They are really loving it. I will have to admit, though, a little selfishly, because I don't have the man cave decked out at the house yet, don't have the basement fully finished, my office is not completed, I've pretty much turned my 1-year-old's room into a man cave. And I'm not sure how others will feel about that when they come visit, the in-laws, my parents, so forth. But hey, I figure some good, strong, masculine role models and imagery in the kid's life at 1 can't hurt. So I've got the photos of Bo Jackson. I've got the Rocky collector's action figures in the packages on his dresser. I've got the Rocky still frame photos. I've got my Bo Jackson starting lineup, Heisman Trophy edition. I've got the Jim Thorpe Olympic All-Star action figure starting lineup edition. I've got my 1992 USA Olympic Dream Team poster on the wall. I've got the collector's cups. I've got my father's 1988 Nichols Bakery tug of war team photo hanging on the wall. I've got an old high school banner up there. I've got my national championship uniform number on his shelf. I've got my grandfather's old steel, Republic Steel Mill lunchbox on his shelf. I've got the signed 1988 New York Mets baseball on his shelf. So needless to say, there's no shortage of decor, no shortage of, again, macho male imagery. And again, this is a room that he and I are going to hang out in, I should say. Compounded by the fact, I've got some more news for you guys. Baby number 4, Cernier child number 4, has been confirmed to be another girl, which is great and fine. I'm glad she's healthy so far. Everything is looking good with my wife's pregnancy. But that pretty much ensures that me and little Chael are going to be even closer. We are going to be the best of friends. And we're going to have a pretty tight bond. So I'm going to spend a lot of time hanging out in his room. in his mini man cave. So I enjoyed decorating it, and I'm hoping that nothing, kind of scares him in the middle of the night with all the action figures and so forth. But I think he'll do all right. He's a tough little cookie already. So that's what's been going on in my world. Happy to be in the house. Everybody else seems pretty happy, and we're enjoying it so far. So I've got a good story about that, actually, how the house came about. So as we all know, I am an entrepreneur. I am a business owner. And if any of you out there are similar, you know taxes for a business owner are not as cut and dry as for a normal W-2 employee. Obviously, you go into business to make as much money for yourself as possible. However, you also find the best possible CPA to minimize as much of your income on paper, legally of course, as possible. You have them find all the loopholes, work all the laws, do everything deduction-wise to make your reportable income as minimum as possible, so I'm not paying an absurd amount of tax. Well, last year my CPA was a little too good, and they minimized my reportable income to a point where my debt to income fell just a hair below the level to get the special loan program that I was working toward. It's a loan with a high down payment, but and so forth, low rate, etc. Those details don't really matter. But so my numbers weren't quite kosher. They weren't matching up because I've got some business debt. Obviously, I'll admit that, running businesses, funding them, trying to get them to grow, you put some money, into that. So debt to income had to be to a certain level. However, as good of a job as the CPA did in minimizing what was reported, they didn't do a very good job of being detailed on what was business debt, what was spelled out. So a lot of my business debt fell on my personal name, to which I have no debt. So it was very muddy. There was no way to change that, obviously, because that was already filed and paid last year. So I was in a bind. We found a house we loved. We got the offer accepted. We had a purchase contract, and then boom, hit the wall. Loan is no-go. Even though we're putting down huge down payment, even the remaining amount for the loan was not going to happen. So I started to internally freak out, started to feel, I made a bad choice with the CPA, I failed my family, we weren't going to get the house, a lot of, negative thoughts that they are going to be heartbroken, devastated. What was I going to do? I tried to work it with them, tried to work it out, but there was just nothing they could do about amending the way that they had filled in my tax return last year. So I was pretty beaten down about it and thought all hope was lost. And then out of nowhere comes the Godfather, Joel D. Supernaut, who, as many of you may remember from his prior conversations on the You're Welcome podcast, and as well as some of ours, spent many years in the mortgage business. That's where he made his one-time fortune. So, I was discussing it with him back and forth through the process over text, and then he asked me if I'd talk to a broker. And I said, a broker? No. I had gone through the specific lender that I was trying to work with, and they said no. And he laughed because it was a bank. He said, all you people with money are the same. You've got great credit, a lot of money, so you think you need a loan, you just go to the bank. He said, only fools use the bank. And at first I didn't get what he was saying. But 5 minutes later, he comes back. He's got a number for a mortgage broker in my area that he had looked up, called on his own. First one, he said he called. He didn't get a good vibe. The guy sounded like a dodo bird, so he just hung up on him. Second one he called, she sounded legit, knew what she was doing. And like I said, within 5 minutes, he had a number for me and said, give her a call. She'll take care of you. It's a go. I said, okay, yeah, right. It's not going to happen, but yeah, I'll give her a call. So I gave her a call, and she said, oh yeah, that sounds fine. We can make this work. She asked me some particulars, the loan, my income, all that kind of stuff. She said, yeah, that should be no problem. I said, okay, I'm not questioning you, but you're saying this is no problem at all, but I've already had a very large, reputable bank say it doesn't work, that the numbers right now don't just work. And she says, well, banks see things very black and white. They have very, very narrow vision of how things need to work, and they will not deviate from that. And I said, well, I thought, Fannie Mae, yada, yada, that was the regulations, and you can't deviate. That's, what caused the housing bubble crash and all that stuff and so forth, subprime lending. She said, no, there's nothing to do with it. This is all above board. She said they just have very specific criteria, and they never look beyond that. So come to find out, brokers have much more flexibility in lending, in what they can accept, what they can work with, etc. So I started to get some hope. I said, okay, this can work. I sent her, all the financial paperwork, documents, statements from all the accounts and so forth. And she said, oh yeah, this should be fine. I'm looking at it here. I can give you a pre-approval. This meets our criteria. So again, a little hopeful, but still reticent in the back of my head, still leery. Because beyond that, we were on a very short time frame. The people buying our house had already had a purchase contract on theirs. It was a very short closing. From the date that we got that agreement, it was 27 days, which is extremely short. If anybody has sold a house and purchased a new one recently, the whole mortgage process, 27 days is highly unlikely. It's usually at minimum 30, more likely 45 to 60. So I told her, even if this is good, we're on a very short time frame. She said, I understand. We'll do what we can. So over the weekend, we're hopeful. We're still scared. Didn't really want to talk about it with the wife because we were both a little nervous. Come Monday, everything's a go. I'm like, fully approved? We're good? She said, everything is a go. It's fine. So the Godfather saves the day. Out of nowhere, within 5 minutes, finds me a broker, gets on the phone, qualifies her, gets me the info. I call her. Within 2 days, everything is a go. And within 11 days from my first conversation with her, we were fully approved, sitting ready for closing, all clear to close, in 11 days. Now, this usually takes, again, 30 to 45, oftentimes 60. 11 days. All legit, all above board, cleared, approved, ready to close. The Godfather saved the day. So my point in this is, A, always trust the Godfather when he talks about mortgages, and B, don't be the good credit, money in the bank type fool who thinks you can only go through the bank. Because I learned the almost hard way that banks aren't the only option. Had I not had this conversation with Joel, or had I not known Joel at all, I would have never thought to even try a broker. I would have just given up after our preferred bank said we can't make it work, and all would have been lost. So if you're in the market to buy a home, don't just stick with your current bank. Check out brokers. I don't know what it is about brokers. I don't know what makes them different, but they do have different lending policies, different regulations, and we got a lower interest rate than we were going to get at the bank to begin with. So it all worked out. And again, the Godfather saved the day. Now, I am a man of faith, and I told Joel this. Shortly before, I had asked the Lord for a sign. I said, God, I know I can get this through if I ask my father to co-sign on this, just for numbers purposes, not because I don't have the money, but because just on paper, black and white, they needed another party of income, statable, taxed W-2 income. Because I pay myself as an employee of my corporation a certain amount, and the rest is all net profit, dividend, distribution, all that kind of stuff. So I was like, God, please give me a sign whether I should ask my father to step in on this and help. Because I didn't want to. I'm a grown man, 37-year-old, businesses, money in the bank, successful, but in this particular situation, something like that would have made the difference and saved me. So I said, God, should I ask my father for help? Please give me a sign. And no sooner did I say that, within a day did the Godfather come through with this info. So God gave me a sign about my father. He said, go to the Godfather. He's got the answer. And he did. So I just think that's a cool story, how Joel stepped in, saved the day, gave this clueless, naive businessman some real world knowledge about how things are done. And, here we are in the new house and everything is kosher. So thank you, Joel. I can never thank you enough for that. You got us into the palace. I'll repay you one day, one way or another. So there we are on that. What else is going on? NCAA wrestling tournament did not fail to deliver. Unfortunately, with the move, that was the weekend, moving in, unpacking, going through all that, broke my heart that I did not get to make it up to the tournament, even being in my backyard of Cleveland. I tried, wanted to make it work, but just didn't have the time to drive up there to make it worthwhile to catch the tourney. But man, what a tournament. Let's talk about this Penn State dynasty. 6 titles in 7 years. Cael Sanderson just building a behemoth powerhouse at Penn State. I mean, what an exciting final round with Penn State snatching it from the claws of the Ohio State Buckeyes. Bo Nickel with an incredible first period pin, rolling through that double leg that Martin hit him with. Martin took him down, and Nickel just hit the right position, was able to roll through, catch him on his back, and boom, first period pin to bring the title home to the Penn State Nittany Lions. It was very ironic, very similar to the way Martin beat Bo Nickel 2 years ago in the finals as a true freshman. Same takedown type scramble where Martin ended up on top and caught Nickel for the pin to win his first title. So that was an incredible match. Again, first period pin was very exciting. Then you have the rest of the guys at Penn State just delivering, man. Zane Rutherford again at 49, Jason Nolf at 57, Vincenzo Joseph at 65, stunning Isaiah Martinez for the title, keeping Imart from his 3rd national title. What a match for Joseph. And then again, we had the final heavyweight match, the rematch between Aaron Kuhn and Olympic gold medalist world champion Kyle Snyder. Kuhn got the regular season win. Snyder got him in the Big Ten final. And then we had the rubber match. And again, Kyle Snyder comes out on top. What an incredible, incredible athlete that Kyle Snyder is. I'm very interested to see what his future holds. Obviously, another potential Olympics, some world championships, but MMA, you got to think maybe he's going to go the MMA route. He'd be a stud heavyweight. He's a little smaller, about 240, 242, not real tall. Kind of like your Daniel Cormier type, but I think, a little better built than Cormier, so I don't know that he would have the weight to cut to 205, but, in that vein, I think he's got some real promise. I'm interested to see if he goes that route, and if he does, is that somebody based on the name and the accolades the UFC just signs right away? Does he go through some smaller organizations first, or, does he immediately get a contract and, get to, get his feet wet and get his comeuppance through the UFC. So I'm very interested to see what plays out with his career. But again, just a phenomenal athlete, another brilliant win, and just a tournament all around. Watching it both on ESPN and Flow Wrestling just did not disappoint by any stretch. So what else? In my life, I have so much going on. And we often talk about mental health and, approaching things one day in, one day out, and, taking care of yourself first. I'm finding with me, I've really have to make it a point and be very intentional in enjoying happiness, because I've got so much going on all the time. Every day brings something new that I don't often find myself truly relishing in the happiness when it comes, when you've got, good moments, peaceful moments, good things happening. I don't find myself really enjoying them, because as quickly as it comes, something else comes up, another stressor, another, task, another, opportunity that has to be taken, another, item of work that needs to be done. So I'm finding that when I look back, I see these moments that should be more important. They should be more enjoyed. They should be more taken advantage of. And I'm finding myself not doing that, because I'm just on a constant roller coaster of things going on. It's, with 3 kids, a 4th coming, with the businesses, with the podcast, now with the moving and being tax season, all that kind of stuff, a lot of things going on, that I don't take the time to step back and smell the roses. That it's always one thing rolling right into the next, to the next, to the next, and before you know it, 6 months, a year has passed, and all these good things that may have happened in my life, I have not taken the time to realize that they have been happening, and I'm not taking the time specifically to enjoy them. I'm always moving right on to something else, and that next thing might not always be a good thing, it might not always be a pleasant thing, it might be a stressor, it might be something I have to handle for the business, or whether it's with my employees, or whatever it might be. That next thing is always coming up and immediately overtaking the moment before, which, if that prior moment was a moment of joy and happiness, is quickly lost and quickly forgotten about. And folks, that is no way to go through life. We need to be intentional, and we need to be specific about how we allocate time to enjoy the good moments in our life, the family time, the growing up of our children, the precious moments with our young children, the time alone with them, the laughter, the jokes, the silliness. We can't always be immediately responding to emails on our phone, or worrying about what we have to do tomorrow, or that next venture, that next paycheck, the next whatever it might be. Sometimes we have to shut ourselves off, and like we had talked about in the past, disconnecting from our phone and all that kind of stuff. But sometimes we have to shut ourselves off from what may come next and just enjoy what is here now. Because if we don't enjoy the good moments, the only thing that's ever going to happen is we're going to be further stressed, we're going to have further anxiety, and we're going to run ourselves ragged, and we're going to look back on a life that we're not sure whether we enjoyed or not, because we didn't take time enough to etch it in our minds and enjoy it enough that it becomes a memory and not just a blip on the screen. And this is something that I'm struggling with, and I need to work on it. I need to take the time to slow down, smile more, recognize the smiles on others, and just enjoy myself. Because if I don't do this, then all the work that I'm putting in is for naught. We need to work to live, not live to work. So having good things, having happy moments, having joyful time with family and friends is vitally important. And we need to recognize when those moments are happening and slow down and embrace them. You know, it's funny, I'm a big TV fan, and one of the shows, you know, like many people that I've seen many, many times over, start to finish, all 8-9 seasons, is The Office. And in the last episode, one of the characters, Andy Bernard, makes a comment that I wish somebody would tell us when we're going through the best times of our life that those are going to be the best times of our life so that we can enjoy them. So when you're in the middle of something, you have to take the time to enjoy it, because when you're 10, 15, 20 years down the road, you may look back and see that that was the greatest time in your life, and you don't want to feel that you didn't make the most of it. So, again, that is something I'm struggling with and I need to work on, and I'm sure that's the same for a lot of us. We're all busy. We've all got, things going on, but we can't let the day-to-day monotony overtake us. So enjoy yourself. Breathe in the calm, peaceful moments. Breathe in the joy, and just slow it all down once in a while. And one thing that helps me do that is Alpha Brain. Alpha Brain is clinically tested and shown to support memory and focus, made only with earth-grown botanicals, amino acids, vitamin B6, all natural. I bring this up because A, it ties into what we were just talking about, and B, Alpha Brain is currently being offered by Onnit on a free trial basis. Now, I will have a link put up on the Facebook page here shortly where you can go and click, get your free bottle of Alpha Brain. Only pay, I believe it's $3 shipping, get your free 30-day supply, give it a try. I myself take the Alpha Brain Instant, and I wouldn't lie to you folks, days when I have stress headaches, when I'm running around trying to accomplish 50 different things, I sit down and I'm frazzled. I tear open a pack of Alpha Brain, I pour it in my bottle of water, I shake it up, I drink it, the peach flavor is smooth, it's good, and within 5 minutes, in all honesty, I have clarity. My head doesn't feel foggy, I feel like I'm able to focus more, and I just feel a little more at peace. I don't have the mouse and the wheel running at the same speed. It just slows everything down so I can see what's in front of me and focus. So give it a try. I wouldn't tell you guys to try it if I didn't believe in it, because I do take it and I do feel it works. So right now, Onnit is running a free trial on Alpha Brain. Click on the link on our Facebook show page. Get yourself a free trial bottle. I've already had a couple of fans reach out to me randomly about it, asking my opinion. I've sent them the link. So take advantage. If it doesn't work, you got nothing to use. And if you do end up buying a bottle or buying a box of the instant powder and you feel over the course of a month it's not really working, send it back. You will get a full refund from Onnit. And actually, they don't even make you send it back. Scratch that. If you're not happy with it for any reason, even if you've got one pack left of the 30 or one pill left of the 30 and you're just not happy, call them up, tell them you're not happy. They will refund your money and not ask for anything back from you. Onnit stands behind their products, and I stand behind Onnit. So check them out. Try Alpha Brain. Give it a go. It works for me. Well, guys, that's all I got today. Again, I just wanted to get back with you. I know it's been a while. Joel and I haven't really connected on the show much lately because of my situation, because of the running around, the moving, the lack of internet, just a lot going on. But that's life. Sometimes that happens. But I wanted to let you know I did not forget about you. We've got some good stuff coming up. We got some more shows this week. We're probably going to have Chael back on, I believe. So we've got some good stuff, and we've got some great response from the last couple episodes. We had Chael and Joel on talking about wrestling. We had Randy Couture on, which we got great response from. My interview with Texas historian Brian Little, got huge response, huge listenership. So I'm glad you guys have been enjoying what we've been doing, and we're just going to continue with that here more in the future. Things have settled down. My house has a new recording studio, so we're going to be good to go, and we're going to get back on routine, back on schedule, and giving you guys what you want. So until the next time, this is Brother Sin. For the Godfather, this has been Beyond the Truth. Do what?